Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hoopy186 back again with another video. Um, I had decided to make this video because, for one, my cable and internet's not working, so I have some time to kill. And secondly, I really did want to make this video. I saw an interesting comment while I was scrolling down my Google Plus page, and I saw, Dave had enough 87. Big shout out to you, Dave. He wrote this comment on there, and then I decided, after I read the comment, I decided to watch the video it came from. Now the video is from this dude named Twilight Bites, who I've had like one other run-in with in the comment section before regarding one of his videos. He's essentially one of those dudes. He's like the Furious Francis type, a guy who pretends on the outside not to be fair-minded gamer, but if you dig deep down, you know that he's nothing more than a Nintendo fanboy. That's who he is. It's obvious. It's obvious in this video how much of a fanboy he is. Now, he made 3 points in that video that I'm going to address, because I could do a whole hour on the nonsense that he tried to spew in the video, but I'm going to stick to the 3 points. And then I'll be done with it. Hopefully it won't be too long. The first comment he made in the video was that how us as gamers are too harsh or too critical and don't look at the bigger picture as far as life goes, involving, people who deal with hunger, and saying how those people would love to be in our situation, would love to trade places with us. Now, on the grand scheme of things, I understand what he's trying to say. I understand what he's talking about. With that said, if you don't complain, if you don't complain, if you don't bitch, if you don't stand up for what you believe in, then if you just let the status quo stay the status quo, then nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. You just accept mediocrity the way it's presented to you. And I'm not that type of person. And there's a lot of people who are not that way. If you're that way, Twilight Bites, then that's fine. If you want to accept mediocrity, that's on you. But I'm not gonna sit there and allow people to allow shit to go over my head, just because I have to, because this notion that I have to think the bigger picture, and I have to think, oh well, there's people starving in Africa, so I'll let this this bad thing happen to me. Fuck that shit, man. Like, if something's not right, I'm going to call people out on it. You know what I mean? If someone's towing my car, I'm not gonna be like, oh well, there's people starving in Africa, so I'll just let it go. No, if someone's towing my car, they're gonna get hell for it. Now, shit, like if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't complain, if you don't do what you gotta do, then people are just gonna step all over you and shit don't get done. This whole notion that he brings up is just, it makes no sense. If you want to accept the mediocrity that Nintendo gives you, that's fine. But no one else has to deal with that. No one else has to deal with that mediocrity. Or at least no one has to stand for it. The second point of the video that left me baffled was just calling out of certain YouTubers. Now, two YouTubers that he called out were Angry Joe and Review Tech USA. And I'm not surprised, because Shokyo said something that I thought was 100% correct, and it was exhibited, this week with the Angry Joe situation. People want to sit there and glee over Angry Joe and saying, oh ha ha ha, Nintendo flagged your shit, blah 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 blah, and they're getting mad at him because he's sick of Nintendo's bullshit anti-consumer policies, and they completely glossed over the fact that Angry Joe said that he had more fun with the Wii U than he did with the PS4 and Xbox One. That fact goes right over people's heads, and all they want to do is champion him getting fucked over by Nintendo and all the other stuff. And obviously Twilight Bites did the same thing. It doesn't make any sense. Like, he goes after these guys who have constructive criticism of Nintendo, and tries to present it as them hating on Nintendo. You can criticize Nintendo and still love Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And the thing with Review Tech USA is that he made a video which I believe was tagged Nintendo needs to adopt or die. And here's the thing. That goes for any company. It doesn't just go for Nintendo. It goes for any company. If you don't adopt, if you don't adapt to your surroundings, you will die. Is it's just a fact. It's a fact. Like it's not something that is not something said out of hatred. It's something said out of truth. It doesn't matter if you're a human. It doesn't matter if you're an animal. It doesn't fucking matter. If you don't adopt, if it doesn't matter if you're a company. If you don't adopt, if you don't adapt to your surroundings, you will die. Now that doesn't mean that you have to change who you are. Like I think he said something. I think Twilight said something to the effect, "Oh, people want Nintendo to be like Sony and Microsoft." That's not true. We just want them to hold up to the standards, and frankly, we want Nintendo to surpass those standards, while keeping to what makes Nintendo special. Any good company can do that. Any good company can do that. Sony did it. Sony did it. Look at where we are with the PS3, where we are now with the PS4, where they were at with the PS3 at this point last year. At this point, what was it, like 9 years ago? You know what I mean? Like they had to adapt to their surroundings. They had to make changes to their policies. They had to make changes to their structure, to their business model, in order to survive. That's what companies do. That's what good companies do. They adapt to their surroundings and they try to survive and get better. And if you're telling me that Nintendo doesn't have to do that, you're full of shit. And you can see in some cases Nintendo's already doing that. They're already trying to do that. They're not where they should be, but they're trying to do that. So for you to say, "Oh, Nintendo doesn't need to do that," you want Nintendo to fail. You want Nintendo to die if you don't think that they should adopt and survive. If you think that the status quo going on at Nintendo is legitimately good for them, then you're the one that wants that company to die. Point. And then this whole notion of him calling out, Blackball and Shokyo, whether it's Shokyo's commitment to promoting Nintendo throughout the years on YouTube, or if it's Black Bond's history with Nintendo, with the games, with the consoles. You know what I mean? He's a bigger Nintendo fan than you will. Those two guys are bigger Nintendo fans than you will ever be. It's one thing to sit there and kiss Nintendo's ass for everything that they do. It's another thing to be able to promote the company and be able to criticize the company when sees fit. And that's what you don't get, Twilight. That's what you don't get. That's what guys like you and Furious Francis and Dr. Trey don't understand. And the last point is this notion. This was perhaps the most annoying aspect of that video, when him talking about how Nintendo talks to their audience and Microsoft and Sony does not. Now, first of all, he mentioned something about all the directs and how they don't have to do that for us, and how Nintendo is out of the goodness of their hearts, or I believe he said that. Hopefully, I'm not wrong. No, he did say it. He did say it. Let me I want to point something out to you, Twilight. You do realize if you go to Sony's YouTube channel right now, you have all these different types of videos. You have primarily game trailers. You have behind the scenes stuff, and you have all that stuff. If you took like about 7 or 8 of those clips, right? You chop them up, dice them up. You edit them, and you put a presentation behind it. You do realize that is basically what a direct is. You do realize that, right? If Sony wanted to, they can easily do the same shit that Nintendo's doing with the direct. In fact, they already do that. They don't do it in the same way Nintendo does it, but it's basically every little video they show is basically just a slice of a presentation that they're trying to show to their audience, like what the directs are. It's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing. And this notion that they don't talk to their fans, I believe Major Nelson has a podcast, hosts a podcast with gamers on. I want to say he does. I think he does. I see it on my Google Plus also. He talks to his audience. He talks to the fan base. He talks to the Xbox community. PS Blog is a place where where gamers can talk to the developers and they can communicate with each other. They communicate with their community as well. I don't know what Nintendo does, like, but I'm sure they have something at least along those lines also. But basically, him saying that, oh, this company, oh, Nintendo talks to their fans, but others don't, is based off of nothing. It's just something to say. He basically said it just to say it. He has no facts, nothing to back up his claim. Nothing. Nothing to back it up. And then he also made this comment about how, oh, well, there's nothing good on anything else right now. Which is funny because you had Dying Light, you have Bloodborne, you have Ori and the Blind Forest, you have Mortal Kombat 10 coming out, you have Tekken 7 coming out. You have all these games coming out, and ironically, a lot of those games are not. All those games are not coming out on Nintendo console and Nintendo platforms. But yet you had the nerve to say that, oh, there's nothing good out right now. Completely being completely contradicting the entire point of your fucking video in the first place about people being negative, people only trying to say something just to say it and trying to be popular. Completely contradicting your statement. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like that whole video was just full of dog shit. It's not even funny. It's just a guy out there just trying to damage control and getting ass hurt because not everyone loves Nintendo the way he loves Nintendo, because not everyone accepts the bullshit that Nintendo may or may not give them. You're talking about, oh, well, people should be talking about Monster Hunter. No, what if no one gives a fuck about Monster Hunter? Have you ever thought about that? Like me, I don't give a fuck about Monster Hunter. What does that have to do with me? You know what I mean? All it was just a Nintendo fanboy video from a dude who gets asked her because people don't have a problem criticizing Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, if you're happy with Nintendo, then be happy with Nintendo. That's all there is to it. But don't sit there and completely contradict yourself and try to think that they're all haters because they have problems with what Nintendo's doing. And let me tell you something. One more thing before I leave. Just going back to the first point about how everyone should be grateful for what they have. Let's be real here. If the roles were reversed and PlayStation was struggling, they weren't selling